Hi, my dear friends and fellow parents who are struggling and going through the difficulty of being detached from your children and all that it sort of contains. And I got a letter this morning about a comment where a woman was asking about what to do when your husband wants to have contact with your estranged child, and where you're not in the contact. You're the baddie, and so you're the one kept out of the contact. And I haven't talked about this before, and I've experienced this, and I still do, and it's really hard. It's really it's really challenging, and it makes the pain even more complicated and complex, because now there's the relationship with your husband or your spouse. It might be the man who's experienced it and the woman who has the contact, but often it probably is the mother and the daughters. I think the mother-daughter relationship is really difficult because we are so emotional as we are. And I can say that what I've done is I've said to my husband, if one of our children, like my son, said, "I hate Dad, I don't want to see Dad, I want to see you," and I couldn't just keep seeing him and having fun with him. I would confront him with it and say, well, this is my husband and this is my partner, and I support him. And you might have these feelings towards your father, but I think your father has been a really good father to you, and I think you should show him respect. And whatever you're dealing with, the emotions you have, you'll have to spend some time dealing with that. And I won't see you, but I won't be angry at you. So it's like in all other relationships, it's so important that we try to not be angry. And it's really hard, because when you're upset and you're hurt, you get angry, and you in your mind you just have this, you've blacklisted a person. And I'm just practicing this every day. I'm no expert at all, but I just know with myself how important it is to stay neutral. And to say, like, if my son had problems with my husband, I don't know what it's about. I don't necessarily understand him, and I don't have to understand him, but it is his problem, and it's real. Something's hurting our son, if that was the case. And we need to respect that, I think, and to say, well, this is sad and this is painful, but it will just have to take the time it takes. And as Eckhart Tolle says, and many other, it's just an old spiritual saying, this will not last. And that is a really good one to have with us when we're in a lot of pain, that it won't last. One day it's over, and of course when we die it's over. But many things, when you're in it, it's so painful, and you can't believe how you can stand it. And then one day it eases off, and it will disappear. So to step back and say, okay, this is a problem for my son, if it is, and I think the right thing to do, that's my personal opinion, is to stay beside your partner and support the partner, and accept that this is the situation. And you might not see I might not see my son for some years, but this is the whole thing of letting go of each other. And I think even Jesus, I know I won't talk too much about Jesus, but he did actually say that I haven't come here to create peace. I've come here to sort of create a friction in the families. And the man who went to who said, "I'm going to follow you, Jesus," and he said, "But I have to go and bury my father first." And he said, Jesus' answer was quite incredible. He says, "Let the dead bury the dead. Follow me now." So we can talk about this a lot, but Jesus, what we hear from him isn't to just stick to the family and just make it all work all the time. It's actually to step away. Each and every one of us has to go to God, go to the Spirit within us, and become whole. And all of these things that are happening in the family, I feel in my own life, are all helpers, although they're so difficult and so painful. They're helping me to step away and say, okay, right, how can I find joy where I am, although somebody's hating me and somebody's doing this. So that's really the core of this, I think. The whole, all the family issues there are, is to really start to nurture and help yourself to get whole, and to understand that, I mean, there might be 1,000 people who think you're stupid and horrible, and that's life. But there are also people who love you, and that deep love, the sense of being loved, is something that we open to within us. It's not something a human being can really, they can't fulfill that need for love. So it's all about really loving ourselves, as I've said many times before. But practically, that's what I've done in my life. I said to my husband, I think this is wrong. You shouldn't go out and go to concerts and do fun things with our daughters when they're hating me. That's just so cruel. and he accepted it. He didn't really understand it, and because his need to be with our children was so great. And that's just my opinion, and I think it's I would feel very bad if I was being with our children and they were hating my partner. I would feel that was very bad. And it's different, of course, if you're divorced. It's a different story because you're not partners anymore. But also the whole thing of talking about your partner to your children, I think that's very tricky, because if you have a lot of problems, it can be hard not to mention something, and I find that really hard. But it is really important to say beautiful things about your partner, because it's their father or mother. So to not talk behind the person's back, and I think when this happens, that one of the parents is seeing the children, although the children are hating one of the partner. I think it is also very much about a not very loving relationship, a marriage that's not really very loving, and it's I think an opportunity to work at that and say, okay, how can we be really good friends? How can we work really well together? How can we be just solve little issues and hurt things and things that aren't good between us? How can we clean it up so that we stand in a more pure way together and a more healthy way together? And that does affect our children, of course. And I think also the fact that the parents stop seeing, that both parents, they decide that they won't see the child who's angry together, it helps the child move on. I've found that was very effective in my life. They missed their father so much, so it forced them to start to move on. And also it is very much it is very much a way to hurt more. The fact that you're see a daughter hates her mother and she's with her father, it's a way to hurt the mother even more, and it's just not healthy for anyone. So it was very effective in our life when my husband did this and said, well, this is the way it is, and I love your mother, and I stand by her side, and if you're angry, we'll just have to wait until you've solved this with yourself, and then we can see each other again. And that really did help. So and as I've said before, my immense problems are nearly gone now, and I had a little experience with one of my daughters the other day, who has been angry for many years, and she just went past me and well, she gives me wonderful hugs and kisses, and has become really, really loving. But she just did this little sweet thing. She walked past me and just patted me on the head and said, "You're doing well, Mum." And you just go, this is unbelievable. After many, many, many years of so much coldness and just hatred and bad things, just it's all gone. And so I just want to tell you that no matter how horrible it can seem and how hopeless it can seem, the love is in our children, and as long as we stay away from being hateful. See, the thing is, that's what's so hard for us, because when somebody hates us, we hate them. It's just an automatic thing. But it's so important that we try to not get grabbed by hatred and understand that a person who's hating you is in pain. They're in pain. They're suffering. And you know that from yourself. When you hate someone, you suffer. So it's so important, the whole thing I've been talking about recently about letting go. It's not it's not hating people. It's stepping away and saying, okay, let me become more whole so that I can stay in this love vibe and love people who are in immense pain, who are hateful, who are destructive, and so I get strong. And when you're in this state, it's much easier to organize. And if you're in a situation where your husband keeps seeing your children, and it's just, the whole thing is so painful, you might have to move away, or like I've done, find your own little space in the home and say, oh, I need some space for myself now because this is just too painful. I just can't stand this. And then start to nurture yourself and have fun where you are. And it sounds mad, but I really find this. I've found this for myself, that it has helped me so much to really step aside and say, okay, right, where is the joy in me? How do I feel about myself? And heal. And then, well, what first happens is you get to feel much better. And the arrows they're pointing at you, shooting at you, they don't hurt you the same way. It's like they sort of bounce off. So you start to build up. But it's hard. It's really, really, really hard. And I do think also a parent, a partner who's doing that, who is with children who are hateful, I do think it's an unhealthy thing to do, and it's a way of punishing your spouse. And I mean, because relationships are so difficult, there is often in a marriage relationship, maybe if it's a very quiet man who has a lot of difficulty expressing himself and what he feels and thinks, maybe has a lot of pent-up hatred towards the woman, and that's the way he can actually punish her. Instead of saying, listen darling, I'm really upset about this and this and this, he can't say that. So when you're in your ego, when you're not in your heart, you just want to actually hurt the person, and it's really sad. But to see that people who are doing hurtful things and who are not being clear in their communication, they're confused and in pain themselves. So the more of us who do this, who really to try to understand yourself and be good to yourself and heal, the more of us do this, the more the world is going to change in a better way, and things are just going to get easier and better. So I hope you could use this, you who are experiencing this very painful situation, and I just wish for you that you feel the light shining where you are in your heart and in your life, and feel joy coming in. So see you soon.